Hey guys, I'm Yato, one of the owners over at Asphalt Cake's Discord server, and for the last few days I've been working on a new fish macro called DEEPFISH. In this video I'll walk you through exactly how to download and set it up, but first here is a quick example of what the macro can do. So as you can see, the macro has some really good tracking, and before we start I will mention that this macro is only supported on Windows and does not work on macOS or mobile. You may also be wondering if the macro is an external or exploit, and the answer to that is no. This macro doesn't read Roblox memory like some of the other fish macros out there, so you cannot get banned for using this macro. As always, all links are in the description in the order they appear in the video. Now let's get right into the tutorial. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to head over to autohotkey.com. It's in the link in the description. So you want to press download. Now you will see two options here. You want to make sure you download v1.1 depreciated, okay, or deprecated. You want to download this one. It won't work if you download v2, so make sure you download version 1.1. So you want to download it, and then you want to click on it, and then you want to go through all the prompts. I already have it downloaded, so it doesn't do anything if I re-download it. So yeah. So once you have downloaded AutoHotkey, you want to join my Discord server. It's in the link in the description. And once you have joined, you'll see macros and guides. Under that, you'll see macros. You want to click on that, and then you'll see a post called DEEPFISH. Click on that, and then here you'll see the files that I'll send here. Now, it is important that you download the most recent file that is sent here. So I'll have this message here, and you'll know which one to download. So in this case, it is alpha v1. You want to hover this, click download, and it'll appear here. So once you have downloaded the file, you want to make it so that it's in its own folder. So you can do this by pressing right click, click folder, just name it whatever. Okay, and then you just want to drag it in there. So you just want to click on it. So you'll see this for the first time, and basically this will auto subscribe you to the channel. So you just want to press OK. So it'll bring you here, and then it'll subscribe you. You can unsubscribe if you want, I don't really care. And here, you already have the macro appear on your screen. Alright, so now you have the macro open. So I'll show you what settings to put. So I like to have these two on, and then for this, I like to just turn them all on, except for this one. You don't really need this one, so you just keep that off. And in shake, you have two shake mode options. So there's click and navigation. I like to use navigation. I think it's a lot better than click, so I'd recommend you do the same. And here, you need to put in your navigation key. So pretty sure by default for everyone it's this key, so you don't need to change it. Now all of these settings, you don't need to touch any of these, so just keep them as is. In minigame, now this is where it gets a bit confusing. So I will show you like how to set this up. So let's say you want to macro Blade of Gorp, okay? So I'll just make a new profile for this. Okay, so let's say I want to macro this rod. So I'll just cast it once, and then press F9, and then you'll see it says drag a box over the fishing bar. So I will do this. So it'll take an image just like that, and then you want to click on this. So set fish line color. Okay, click that, and then you want to click where the fish line is. So I'm clicking there. Set bar left color, so I'll set my bar here. Right, I'll do that. And then the arrow color, so it's just this arrow. And then once you do that, it's closed. So here you'll see all like the colors here. So for the tuning tab, you have two detection modes. So there's manual and precision. Precision is generally like the better one, like objectively better. You can do manual if precision doesn't work for some reason, but manual is less accurate. Okay, now once you have like done all the settings, you want to press save, and you can press start. Okay, so I'll put this to the side. So here on the left side you can see like the controls: P to start, O to reload, M to exit. So now if I were to press P, it'll start the macro, and here it should begin tracking the colors that I put in earlier. And to stop the macro, you just want to press P again. Alright, so now I'll go over some of the most common issues that you might run into, and I'll explain how to fix them. Okay, so the first issue is, let's say you want to open up the macro, but then sometimes it'll open up like a notepad and then you'll see all the code. So what you want to do for that is you want to click on the macro like that. Now right click on it, open with, and you want to make sure you press auto hotkey launcher. So the second issue that most people have is the shake. So sometimes it won't detect or it won't do it properly. So for this case, I'll use click just to show you. So the way that click works is it looks for a white pixel. So when I cast, you can see how there's like white pixels here. So it's looking for that and it'll click. Okay, so sometimes the shake goes out to like the outer edges and it won't like shake. So the reason for that is you want to change these values down here. So let's say the shake button is on the right side of your screen and it's not clicking, it's not detecting there. You want to increase this to like something. I don't really know your monitor size, so you can just increase it until it works. And same thing for the bottom, but make sure you don't put this to 100% because your inventory bar has white pixels, as you can see. So you don't want to set that any lower than 88. But for the others, you should be okay to increase these values. If it's still not detecting any white pixels, you can go here to click tolerance and you can increase this to like 3. I'd only keep it at like 1, 2, or 3, but 1 should work for most people. Okay, so you can also change the failsafe. So basically what this is after 20 seconds, if it's not clicking anything, it'll restart the macro and restart the whole loop. For navigation settings, you will need to turn on your UI navigation. So you want to go over to your settings, scroll down until you see UI navigation toggle. You want to make sure that this is on. So for navigation mode, the way that it detects is basically it'll just spam enter. And once it sees like the bar appear, it'll stop shaking and then it'll switch up to the minigame. And yeah, that's why I recommend using navigation instead of click, because this one just spams enter and then it just waits for your bar to be detected. For the failsafe, same thing here. You can change this value. So on default, I think it's 30, but I'd probably lower it to like 10 or 20, depending on like how long this shake takes for your rod. But I think for most people, 15 to 20 is a good range to leave it at. And navigation spam setting or spam delay, you can just leave this at 10. I don't think you need to change it. Basically just presses enter every 10 milliseconds. So the third issue is that after the shake, the macro doesn't like detect the minigame. So this always has to do with color. It's not to do with like the macro, because the macro just detects the color and that's when it stops shaking. So you want to make sure you input these colors correctly. So I showed earlier in the video on how to do that, so go back and watch that. Make sure these are all the correct colors and hex colors, and you want to leave this at 3. If it's any lower, then it might like glitch out and not detect potentially. But yeah, if it's not detecting, then you have to like fix your bar colors. So the fourth issue is that the macro is just not tracking the fish correctly. So I'll just start here. Okay, so as you can see, the macro, for me, it's working properly, but I'll explain why it might not work for you. So the way that you want to troubleshoot your minigame is by first going into the minigame with the macro, and then you just want to see if it's like following this fish line, okay? Like sometimes it'll overshoot, but you just want to make sure that it's following it, okay? So it might do something like this, like rebounding, but it'll detect like this fish bar, so that's a good sign. Now all you need to do is to tweak the settings a bit. So we know that in detection mode there's 2 settings, so precision and manual. So these have different like settings, as you can see. So for precision, you can hover over like these question marks and you can see like what it does. So you can increase or decrease these values until it works for you. And here I also left a few notes that you can use to configure your own settings. So make sure you follow these until the macro like follows your fish bar. For manual, same thing here. So I left a bunch of question marks here that you can just hover, and I also left some notes that you can use to adjust your settings. So you just want to keep configuring and tweaking these settings until it works. Alright, so let's say it detects the fish minigame, right? Let's say it detects, but then the bar goes out here, or something like that. That means the macro is not detecting your colors properly. So this, like, it should be fine. You don't need to tweak this if it's not detecting. It has to do with your bar colors. So you make sure you want to fix this. So if you need any additional help, like maybe I didn't address something in the video, you can always go over to my Discord server, and then under lounge, you'll see questions. So you just click on that and then you can ask away. Keep in mind, this macro is still in its alpha phase, and I have tons of massive updates planned, including support for tons of new rods and a bunch of extra features. To get the new versions as soon as they drop, join my Discord. And if you found this tutorial helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.